Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to begin a new series on the topic algebra. And what we are going to basically be doing is we are going to be introducing algebra to us. So basically at the end of this video, you are going to be able to identify an algebraic expression and of course be able to manipulate algebra and be able to understand and solve equations involving removal of brackets, simplifying, expansion, and other algebraic processes involving fractions and the rest of them. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, what is an algebra? An algebra is simply a mathematical system where we use letters to represent numbers. So those numbers are actually unknown to us, so we use letters or other alphabets, other alphabets to represent the numbers that we don't know. So basically we use the English alphabet to represent them. So that is algebra. Now the very important thing that you should get in algebra is the fact that the letters that we are using to represent numbers are going to work exactly the same way as the numbers work. They portray the same attribute as the number. Hence, the operations with which you'll be engaging them in are going to be the same as we do with ordinary numbers, our natural integers and the rest of them, also numbers like that. They are going to engage in the same processes as the normal number. Alright, so for example, in the normal order, if I want to write our natural number, we are going to have 1, followed by 2, followed by 3, followed by 4, followed by 5, followed by 6, followed by 7. Now, if I were to make this into an algebra, if I were to bring out an algebra, and let's say I don't know what my number is, and I want to create this sequence of an algebra. What I want to do is, I want to think of what item that algebra represents. Okay, for example, I don't know the number. Now, if you were asked something like this, for example, you were asked x plus x, you might not know what it means. If I ask you 3x plus 5x, you might not know what it means. You might not know the answer. But what if I ask you something like 3 apples plus 5 apples? That would be what? 8 apples. That is easier to understand. Alright? So in the same context, if I said 1 apple plus 1 apple, that would give you what? 2 apples. So with the same context, we are going to generate a sequence for algebra. It means that I could have 1 apple, then I have 2 apples, and then I have 3 apples, then I have 4 apples, 5 apples, 6 apples, 7 apples, and so on and so forth. So what does it mean? It means that 1 plus 1, the same way we have 1 plus 1 to give 2, 2 plus 1 to give 3, 3 plus 1, in that progressive order of this sequence, is the same way we have 1a plus 1a to give 2a, 2a plus 1a to give 3a, 3a plus 1a to give 4a. Now, but the difference is that in algebra, whenever the number, now let me define some terms. This is the algebra, and this number is called the coefficient. The number that is standing against an algebra, that is giving the algebra its value, is called the coefficient of that algebra. So, but whenever the coefficient of an algebra is 1, we necessarily don't write it. So we simply write the algebra alone. So A is the same as 1A. The 1 becomes invisible because of course it is 1A. So it is just 1A here. But when as it progresses, we begin to add the coefficient 2a plus 1, 3a, that is 2a plus 1a, 3a plus 1a, 4a, 4a plus 1a, and so on and so forth. Alright, having understood this, let's go into the operations. Now we have addition operation, we have a subtraction operation, multiplication, and division. Now the reason why I wrote them this way is because I want you to consider, of course, generally we consider negative as the opposite of positive, multiplication as the opposite of division. Right? The same way here. If I told you something like this, 3a plus 6a, you would say, because look at it as 3 apples plus 6 apples to give you 9 apples. Alright, that is one way to solve it. If I said 5a minus 3a, that would be 5 apples minus 3 apples. I'll be left with what? 2 apples. Now, what if I now give you something like this? I gave you something like 3a plus 3 or 4 plus 4b. Now, how do you solve this? This is what you do. Because the algebras are now different. So it could be this. It could be 3 apples plus 4 balls. 3 apples plus 4 bananas. Let's use bananas. 3 apples plus 4 bananas. How do you write that in mathematics? Would you say 7 apples, bananas? No. Apples are different from bananas. So because of that, what we have here is still 3 apples plus 4 bananas. And that's our answer. It doesn't change. Why? Because the algebras are different. I hope that was clear. Now the same way, if I had 5 apples minus 3 bananas, you cannot subtract bananas from apple, so your answer is still 5 apples minus 3 bananas. I hope this is clear. That when the algebra are different and you're using addition and subtraction operation, they never mix, they never join. Now let's go to the multiplication and division operations. If I have just a number plus my times my algebra, this is the same as what? 3a, because it means that a is occurring 3 times. Multiplication means successive addition. So if I have a times 3 means a plus a, which means 1a plus 1a plus 1 will give me what? 3a. So 3 times a, easily it just says what? 3a. Now, how about if we have a times a? A times a is just like, say, if I said 2 times 2, it means 4, right? Which is the same as what? 2 squared, right? So the same way, 2 times a here is going to be what? A squared. And which does mean that a times a is going to be what? A cubed. That is a raised to the power of 3. Alright. Now, I hope that is also clear. Now, in the same way, if I have division, now, if I mix numbers, say I have 3a times 4b is going to be 3 times 4 to give 12, a times b to give ab. And that is how simple. So, multiplication merges them together. Alright. Now, let's go to the first set of operations, which is removal of brackets and simplifying. Removing brackets and simplifying. And if I have 2 into bracket x plus 2, for example. Now you see that because x plus 2 cannot join because x is an algebra, 2 is a constant. So they don't mix, they are not the same, they are not alike, so they cannot join. So that is why this expression is valid. Now we can do this by removing a bracket. And how do we remove brackets? Any item that is the closest to the brackets is going to open the bracket by multiplying through. So we have 2 times x is going to be what? 2x, as we did before. Then plus 2 times 2 is going to be what? 4. And that is the answer, because this and this are not the same. This is an algebra, this is a constant. Let's further go to another example. We have 3 into bracket a plus 2b, for example. 3 is going to open the bracket. We have 3 times a is going to be 3a plus 3 times 2b is going to be 6b, and that is our answer. Why? Because a and b do not mix. They are not the same. It's just like looking at apples and bananas. Of course, they are not the same, so they cannot mix. Now, what if we had a longer expression like, okay, what if we have 3 into brackets a plus 5a Alright, plus 5 minus b. Look at this expression. Now this is a very simple expression, and now the best way to do is this. Before we open this bracket, let us simplify this bracket, because you see there is a line here and it means something. This line is another way of denoting brackets in mathematics. So we have 3 open brackets a plus, no, let's put a minus here, for example. If a minus were here, then minus will be here. Now this minus is going to open this bracket. It's going to open this up as a bracket, and you have minus, then minus 5, then minus times, minus is going to be plus, and you have b, close bracket. I hope that is clear. So then you can now use the 3 to open the bracket, such that you have 3a minus 3 times this to give you 15, and 3 times b to give you 3b. Since they are different, then you need to answer like that. This is a constant. This is 3 apples, 3 bananas. They cannot mix. So this is where you're going to stop. Alright. Now, since this is clear, we are going to go to the second part, which is expansion of algebraic expressions. Expansion. Now, in expansion, all we want to do is bring out the full term. A term will be given to us in a concise form, a simplified, a concise form. We'll be told to expand it. So, for example, we could have something like this. Now, we are told to expand an expression like this. How do you do that? Very simply, there are two ways. The first way is quite long, and what you do is you open two undefined brackets. Now you put this expression, put the first expression in both brackets, and then this second expression, split it outside of the two brackets. So you split it this way. You put x outside of this, and you put minus 3 outside of this. So that you have x times x is going to give you, we said, x squared plus 2 times x, x times 2 to give you 2x, and minus 3x. Now, notice that there is a negative sign here, so it's going to affect the value that you are going to open up here. Now, there's actually a sign here. The sign that a number carries is always in front, or is always behind, at the back. There is the back. It's always at the back of the number. So here is kindly an invisible plus, is why it did not affect at all. So here is kindly negative, it's going to affect. So here is going to be minus 3x, and this is going to be minus 3 times plus 2. So it's going to be minus times plus minus, and 3 times 2, 6. So that will be minus 6. So minus 3 times plus 2 is minus 6. So here, we are going to collect like terms. But looking at it, these are like terms already. They are already being collected together. 2x and 3x. They are both carrying x in the first power. So we have x raised to the power 2. Now 2x plus 2x minus 3x. Now you treat plus as you have and treat negative as you are owing. So if you have 2 and you are owing 3, you are going to pay up your 2 and still owe 1. So that will be x. That will be minus 6. And this is going to be our answer. Alright. The second method is to use this. The second method is to, we have x plus 2 and x minus 3. Now the second method is to use this to multiply this and use this to multiply this. It's basically the same thing, but this one is more direct. You wouldn't have to go through the stress of opening bracket and the rest of that. But you have to be careful with this method because it's quite confusing at times. Now x times x is going to be x squared. Now x has multiplied this, now it's going to multiply this. X times minus 3 is going to be minus 3x, and then you have plus 2 times x. Because you are done with this 2, now you come back to this, so you're going to have plus 2x. Now you're going to multiply this, and you have minus 6. So of course you solve this, Here we add minus x, which is the same. X squared equals minus x, and x squared minus x minus 6. You can see that we have the same answer. Alright, let's solve one more question. So for example, I have 3a minus 2b, close bracket, a plus 3b, a plus, or a minus 3b. Now this, for example, we're going to use both methods still. Now using the first method, I said we're going to open two undefined brackets. Alright, we are going to solve the number 2, and the number 2 says that 3a minus 2b, open brackets, a minus 3b. Using this first method, we're going to open two undefined brackets as well. Then fill this first bracket with the first expression and the second bracket as well. So we have 3a minus 2b in this bracket and 3a minus 2b. Then outside of the brackets, we're going to split this expression, second expression, a minus 3b, so that we can now use these items to open the bracket. So we have a times 3a, we have 3a squared, minus a times 2b, 2ab, minus 3 times 3 equals 9, and a times b equals ab. Now notice the way I open the expression, the brackets, using numbers to times number and letters to times letters. Minus times minus equals plus, and 3 times 2 equals 6, of course. B times b equals b squared. And now you can see that these two expressions are like terms, so we can further simplify by saying minus 2ab minus 9b equals minus 11ab, then plus 6b squared. And that is our final answer. Alright, we are going to be wrapping up the first session of this series on algebra with this. And we're going to in further videos. In our next video, we're going to be doing algebraic processes involving fractions. Please join us and subscribe to this channel to help the channel and get notified. Click on the bell notification to get notified whenever we drop a new video. Thank you very much. God bless you.